Stop buying disinfecting wipes. In this video, I'm going to show you a $1 recipe that makes a full tub of kitchen wipes in about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to read you the fine print on the branded canister. The sentence printed right there on the label that proves most people who buy those wipes have never actually disinfected a single thing with them. But first, go look at your counter because I already know what is sitting on it. The plastic canister. The one with the pop-up lid, 75 or 80 wipes inside, the lemon scent, or the fresh scent. You paid somewhere between $6 and $9 for it, and if your house is like most houses, it will be empty in 3 or 4 weeks, because once that canister is on the counter, you use it for everything. Crumbs, coffee rings, sticky fingerprints, the stove, the table, the door handle. Now do the arithmetic with me, because the company is counting on you never doing it. A canister a month is somewhere between $70 and $100 a year. For what, exactly? Pull one wipe out and look at it. It is a small square of wet paper. That is the product. Paper, water, a little cleaning agent, and fragrance, sealed in a plastic tub with a 40-year-old jingle behind it. The wet paper itself cost the manufacturer a few cents. You are paying for the tub, the shipping weight of the water, and the brand name, and you are paying for it 12 times a year, forever. Today I am going to show you how my family makes the same thing at home, a whole container of fresh wipes, for about $1 in the time it takes your coffee to brew. And unlike the store canister, you will know every ingredient in it, because there are only 3, and you already own all of them. My name is Kenji Sato. Most people call me Ken. I have cleaned professionally for 25 years. I started at 17 in my parents' commercial cleaning company, and in a commercial cleaning company, nobody buys little retail canisters of anything because you would go bankrupt in a month. You buy concentrate in drums and you mix your own working solutions every night in spray bottles and buckets, and you learn very quickly that everything in the cleaning aisle is a tiny, wildly marked up serving of something that costs almost nothing in bulk. Later, I ran housekeeping in a luxury hotel for 10 years, hundreds of rooms, and it was the same lesson at a bigger scale. The retail wipe canister might be the single highest markup item in the entire aisle, and I say that as someone who has purchased cleaning chemicals by the pallet and knows what this stuff actually costs. So stay with me because I am going to give you the exact recipe, the 2 small details that make homemade wipes work instead of falling apart in your hand, the honest truth about what these wipes can and cannot do, and that fine print on the branded canister I promised you, which is my favorite piece of gatekept knowledge in this entire video, because it has been printed in plain sight on the label the whole time. Here is what you need. First, 1 roll of good paper towels, and this is your first important detail. It must be the good name brand kind, the thick, strong quality roll. This is the one place in this video where I will tell you not to buy the cheapest option, because cheap paper towels are held together with hope, and once they sit in liquid for a week, they dissolve into mush and tear off in wet shreds when you pull them. The strong ones hold together beautifully. Second, a container with a lid. Any airtight food container large enough to hold half a roll standing up. If you want the wipes to pull up through the top like the store ones, you can use one of those round plastic cereal or snack dispenser containers from any grocery store or dollar store, but honestly, any lidded container works fine. And third, the solution, which is where your dollar goes. 12 ounces of water, which is a cup and a half. A quarter cup of plain rubbing alcohol from the pharmacy aisle, the ordinary bottle that costs a couple of dollars and lasts you many batches, and about 4 drops of dish soap. That is the entire recipe. Water, rubbing alcohol, dish soap. Nothing else. And before we go any further, one rule I want you to tattoo somewhere in your mind, not just for this recipe, but for your whole life. Never add bleach to this, and never mix bleach with anything at all except plain water. Not with alcohol, not with vinegar, not with ammonia, not with other cleaners. Mixing bleach with other chemicals can create genuinely dangerous fumes and is completely unnecessary. This recipe needs nothing added to it. Simple is the whole point. Careful is part of the craft. Now let me tell you why those 3 ingredients, because I do not want you following a recipe. I want you understanding a method. The dish soap is your grease cutter. Soap molecules grab onto oils and fats, the fingerprints, the cooking film, the peanut butter smear, and let the water lift them off the surface and carry them away. 4 drops sounds like nothing, but soap is powerful in tiny amounts, and more than a few drops just leaves a sticky residue on your counters that attracts more dirt, which is a mistake half the internet makes with every homemade cleaner. The rubbing alcohol does 3 jobs at once. It cuts through grease that soap alone struggles with. It kills a good share of everyday germs on contact, and this is the elegant part. It makes the wipe dry fast and streak-free behind you, which is exactly why glass cleaners have alcohol in them. And the water is the carrier that brings the other 2 to the surface and makes the whole thing gentle enough for daily use on counters, tables, handles, laminate, sealed stone, painted cabinets, most of the surfaces of an ordinary kitchen. 3 ingredients, 3 jobs, no dye, no perfume, no mystery chemicals, with 16 syllables. When something spills next to your toddler's plate, you will know exactly what is on the cloth you wipe it with. That alone is worth the 5 minutes to me. Here's the assembly, and pay attention because there are 2 small details that separate wipes that work from a soggy mess, and they are both in this part. Take your roll of paper towels and cut it in half across the middle with a large sharp kitchen knife like you are cutting a loaf of bread, so you end up with 2 short rolls, each about the height of a normal canister wipe. A serrated bread knife makes this even easier. It does not need to be pretty, it needs to fit standing up in your container with the lid still closing. Set one half in the container, cut side down, and save the other half for your next batch because yes, one roll of paper towels makes two full batches of wipes, which is part of why this costs $1. Now mix your solution, the cup and a half of water, the quarter cup of rubbing alcohol, the 4 drops of dish soap, stir it gently with whatever is nearby, and here is detail number 1. Do not dump it all over the roll in one go. Pour it in slowly in stages, a wave at a time, and let the paper drink each pour before you add the next. If your container is clear, you can watch the wet line climb up the roll, and that tells you when it is ready for more. Pour it all at once, and the outside gets soaked while the core stays dry, and half your wipes come out damp on one edge and useless on the other. Slow pours, even soaking. It takes 2 extra minutes, and it is the difference. Then detail number 2. Once the roll is fully saturated, reach into the middle and pull out the cardboard tube. Wait until the roll is wet to do this, because a wet tube slides out with no fight at all, where a dry one tears the sheets around it. With the tube gone, find the loose end of the paper in the center of the roll, and now your wipes feed from the middle, upward, one at a time, exactly like the store canister, except you know what is on them and they cost about a penny each. Lid on, done. 5 minutes, $1, several weeks of wipes. 2 housekeeping notes from someone who has made hundreds of these. Make batches this size, half a roll at a time, and plan to use a batch within 3 or 4 weeks. This recipe has no industrial preservatives in it, which is a feature, not a flaw, but it means you treat it like food, fresh in small amounts, not like a bunker supply. Keep the lid sealed between uses so the alcohol does not evaporate away, because the alcohol is doing a lot of the work. And if you ever open a batch and it smells off, do not negotiate with it. Tip it out, rinse the container, and make a new batch, which costs you $1 in 5 minutes. This is the correct homemade mindset. Small, fresh, cheap, often. Now the honesty section, because I promise you I would never oversell, and this is also where the fine print comes in. What I have given you is an excellent everyday cleaning wipe. Cleaning means physically removing dirt, grease, crumbs, and most of the germs along with them, and for 95% of what anyone actually does with a wipe canister, that is precisely the job. But it is not a hospital-grade disinfecting wipe, and I am not going to stand here and pretend it is. If you have just had raw chicken juice on a counter, the professional method is 2 steps. First, clean the surface properly with soap, your wipe, or hot soapy water to remove the mess itself. Then sanitize with something proven, and the cheapest proven option in your house is a plain bleach solution. 1 teaspoon of regular bleach in a quart of water in a labeled spray bottle, applied to the clean surface and left to sit wet for several minutes, then air dried or rinsed. That is what commercial kitchens do. Clean first, then sanitize, in that order, because sanitizer applied over grease mostly sanitizes the grease. But now, here's the part one I've been saving, so lean in. Go pick up a branded disinfecting wipe canister and actually read the back label, the small print nobody has ever read, and you will find an instruction that says something like this. To disinfect, surface must remain visibly wet for 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Now think about how every person on earth actually uses those wipes. One quick swipe across the counter, the wet streak flashes dry in 15 or 20 seconds, and on they go with their day feeling protected. By the instructions printed on the company's own canister, that surface was never disinfected. Wiped, yes. Cleaned somewhat, yes. Disinfected? No, not even close, not by the manufacturer's own rules. Which means tens of millions of people have been paying triple price for hospital-grade disinfection they have never once actually performed, when what they were really doing all along was ordinary cleaning, the exact job my $1 recipe does. The premium was for a word on the label and a feeling in your head. That is the whole business model of that canister, and it has been confessing on its own back label for decades. Nobody hid it, they just bet you would never read it. So my rule is simple, for every day the dollar wipes. For the rare true germ event, clean first, then a proper sanitizing step with real wet contact time. That is more effective than what you were doing before, and it costs 1/10 as much. And since we are in the kitchen with a fresh tub of wipes, let me hand you the companion system because this comes straight from how professionals think about mess. The dirtiest, most chaotic part of cooking is cutting, so the single best clean kitchen upgrade I know is one large wooden cutting board, and I mean large, the kind that covers a whole stretch of counter with a groove around the edge to catch juices. Everything gets chopped on that one big board, fruit, vegetables, bread, everything except raw meat, which always gets its own separate board, always, no exceptions. That rule is older than I am, and it exists for good reason. The big board contains the entire mess of cooking in one place, nothing escapes onto the counter, and at the end of the day you care for it in 2 minutes. Brush off the debris, then wipe the whole surface down with a simple half and half mix of white vinegar and water, which cleans it and freshens it, and you can make a second small tub of wipes with exactly that mix, 1 cup of water, 1 cup of vinegar, poured over paper towels the same way as before, and keep it as your dedicated board tub. Then once a week, rub the dry board with a little food-grade mineral oil, the cheap bottle from the pharmacy aisle, and let it soak in. That is the entire maintenance of a wooden board, and a board treated this way lasts decades and looks nearly new the whole time. A good board is not cheap on the day you buy it, but cared for. It is the last one you ever buy, and that is the difference between price and cost. My grandmother would say you are not cleaning the board, you are thanking it because it helped make every meal in the house. That is soji. You care for a thing because it serves you. So let us total up the day. One roll of good paper towels, a bottle of rubbing alcohol that lasts months, dish soap you already own, a jug of vinegar, and a container from the cupboard. Your everyday wipes now cost about $1 a batch, instead of $7 to $9 a canister, which over a year is roughly $100 staying in your pocket, from this one video, from one shelf of the store, and nothing was sacrificed. The wipes clean the same messes, your counter's dry streak-free, your cutting board is better cared for than ever, and for the rare serious moment you now know the real two-step method the branded canister never actually delivered. There is no company that profits from you knowing any of this. There is no advertising budget behind a half roll of paper towels in a snack container, which is the entire reason you were never told. So here is your homework. Tonight, 5 minutes. Cut the roll, mix the cup and a half of water with a quarter cup of alcohol and 4 drops of soap. Pour it in waves, pull the tube, lid on. Then go read the back of your branded canister. Actually read it, find the wet contact time, and come tell me in the comments what yours says because the numbers vary by product and I want to build a little collection down there. And tell me honestly, how many canisters was your house going through a month? I read every single comment, and next week I want this comment section full of people who made their first batch. And speaking of next time, it is the big one. I am going to show you how to deep clean your entire home for under $5. The professional shortcuts I use to turn over hotel suites to white glove standard in half an hour, including the one appliance in your house that you have probably never cleaned, that is silently ruining your laundry, and in rare cases can even start a fire. That is not clickbait. I will show you exactly where it hides. Subscribe so you do not miss it. I am Ken Sato. Do it once, do it properly, then it stays done. I will see you in the next one.